We're going to talk about chipmunk voice and what that means. One of you contacted me in my DMs, and it was a really good, I feel like it's a teachable moment kind of thing. Chipmunk voice. So the guy tells me that he feels like when he sings high notes in particular, but also sometimes when he speaks, he gets chipmunk voice, his words, not mine. I'm going to use a different example than what he told me. I don't want it to seem at all like I'm mocking him, but it's kind of like if you had, cause we were just kids, instead of, cause we were just kids, with an open sound. When we fell in love, instead of, when we fell in love, instead of it being open. So, why do we get chipmunk voice? Well, if you understand a little bit of the basic mechanics of singing, it'll help. So, we take breath in, obviously, and we make sound as breath comes out. Now, if we just release breath indiscriminately, we get, we were just kids, because we were just kids, and we know that's not going to work. So instinctively, we use flow resistance, mainly at the vocal cords. And a lot of coaches will tell you, that's all you need to worry about, just close your cords. That will mean, because we were just, and you can do that. It's possible. But for a lot of voice types, especially heavier ones like mine, it's not enough. The tone will suffer. If the only thing really that you're using to hold back the breath pressure is cord closure, you're gonna get a pinched tone, a thin tone, or possibly chipmunk voice. Because for heavier voices like mine, you get the because the breath flow overwhelms the cords automatically, the body recruits help from the other muscles. We were just kids. And it's something I feel like it's not acknowledged enough. I know sometimes people give me flack for talking about voice type so much because they're like, that's a classical notion. But I feel like what I experience a lot is singers telling me like, Eric, I have a lower voice type, and every coach I worked with just didn't acknowledge that, and it was just incredibly frustrating. So one of the ways we fix this is through suspension. And it's an old school kind of approach, yes. But I feel like especially if you have a heavier, fuller voice, it makes a big difference. And suspension being that when I open up my ribcage through my breath, so we want, just to show you a little better, because it's a little baggy. I'm getting a nice wide expansion of my ribs, and I'm also expanding backward. So I'm not doing that, okay? It's more of a cobra's hood so I talk a lot about cobra versus Superman. So it's not Superman, it's not this. It's more like it's out and back, and my shoulders and chest broaden. So I'm not doing this. I'm not advocating this. It's an opening. So one good thing to practice, utilizing a skill we've learned before, the sniff. My ribs are open. I can, sorry, I was thinking about the line. Cause we were just kids when we fell in love. So I would go sniff, opening up my ribs, audible sniffs, and then I'm gonna hiss the rhythm. You get it? It can be applied to whatever. Dancing in the dark. But the challenge for you is we want and not. Now, this is where I kind of sneak in a little pitch for my program. In Breathing Boot Camp, I go into great detail on how to really master this technique. But for now, I'll just say, using techniques, tying together things that I've taught you before, lean on your solar plexus. There's this muscle, the upper triangle of the abs, right below the xiphoid process. We can engage it. If you cough voicelessly, don't overdo the cough, or hiss strongly, as in the letter S, you can feel it go out. So if I sniff, opens me up, and then as this muscle helps to stabilize my ribs. When the ribs are open, they can hold back pressure, allowing the vocal cords and the throat to be free, and the vocal cords to respond to your mental commands more freely. It's pretty much a guarantee to get rid of chipmunk voice. You can use it even to a lesser degree when you're speaking. A lot of you have mentioned, like, you speak differently than you used to back in the day. that's a long story actually. My speaking voice is much healthier now, but that one of the problems I had back in the day in my early videos was I didn't want to accept my voice type. And also I thought that in order to be seen as, I don't know, energetic, I had to pitch my voice up and I would do this and then, but it was wearing me out. And what's funny is when I started speaking with my whole body and letting my whole body open up, my speaking voice got fuller, but also my range got wider. So even though I might be perceived as speaking lower, my control, my range grew tremendously. Once I started letting my voice be free, it could like really thrive, I guess you could say. So, your body, your voice, your vocal instrument thrives in space. We want a long spine, open ribs, a soft throat, and this is what gets rid of chipmunk voice. I feel like, I keep trying to get this hand in my pocket. Yeah, my pocket was like, anyway. I'm a little rambly today because I'm trying to squeeze this in between lessons, but there was some good stuff in there, I promise. Practice opening up and leaning into your solar plexus, this outward push instead of this clenching. Instead of this inward clench, can we get an outward push? You know, from here, and that'll make for better breath control, better singing, especially if your voice is heavier, like mine. And regardless of gender, anybody can have a lower voice. And so if you're experiencing chipmunk voice or baby voice, then try this out. It should help.